Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Business Link webinar. We're very excited to have people joining from all over the province here. As much as you might not be able to see the conversation that's happening in the chat, I can see that people are joining us from Fort McMurray, Fort McLeod, so kind of very far north and very far south. We've got people from Red Deer, Calgary, Edmonton, and lots of places in between. So thanks for joining us today. Welcome, everyone, whether you're tuning in from your desk or from your couch or from the C train or wherever. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar. We are going to be digging deep on personal branding and how to show up online. We're excited to have you join us, and we really want to kick off with a quick pulse check to see where people are at with this. So we've got a poll coming up on the screen right now. And if you'd like to just say, how would you rate your current personal brand online? Do you think you've got a solid strategy? Is it a case of I post now and then? Are you completely invisible online, or are you at the point of not even really knowing what this is and what I'm talking about right now? So if you'd like to, fill in that poll, that quiz, that would be excellent. Before I introduce Joe, who's going to be our speaker today, I'd like to first of all acknowledge that Business Link acknowledges and respects that we're on traditional land, meeting grounds, territories, gathering places, and traveling routes of Treaty 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10, and the home to many First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge the lands of those who have come before us, reside here now, and in the future. So yeah, thank you. As I say, we have people joining us definitely from across the province. So thank you very much. I'm Matt Hill, Director of Operations and Client Service at Business Link. And really, it's my joy every couple of weeks to host these webinars, just to, I feel that I learn lots. It's great that we can connect this information and these resources with so many Albertans. So, my next part really is to introduce our wonderful speaker, Joe Whitbread. He's joining us from Central Alberta. He's the president and CEO of Joe Social Media, Alberta's first digital agency. And he spent over a decade helping professionals, students, and entrepreneurs build impactful online identities. Whether he's working with aspiring athletes, hosting major events, or training teams on how to get the most from platforms like LinkedIn, Joe brings a dynamic and practical approach to personal branding. He's here today to walk us through how to show up with intention, create consistent content, and embrace self-promotion with confidence. So I will manage those questions as they come in. So please make sure you add them to the Q&A tab, and those that are kind of most relevant, we might not get to them all, but I'll definitely chat with Joe as we go through here. But apart from that, it is over to Joe. Joe, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, and great to see everyone, including some familiar names and faces and places I've had the opportunity to visit. Hi, everyone, from Treaty 6 and 7 territory. Here in Central Alberta, I'm speaking to you from Lacombe, my home, my office, my space in this amazing province, but just north of the Red Deer River is Treaty 7 territory, and just south is Treaty 6. And I get the opportunity to be a part of both. Really grateful to be a part of this webinar and this series of webinars where experts from our community and even nationally and certainly provincially in communities just like yours provide knowledge and opportunity to learn for free. And there's not a lot that's free anymore on the internet or anywhere else. And so it is my pleasure to provide for you some resources, hopefully some in which you can learn from, grow on, and I'll be honest with you, be uncomfortable with, because we're about to talk about ego and ego science. Egotistical science has been something that we have always talked about in a negative way. And unfortunately, we have grown up in many cases with a past relationship with who we are as someone who might be conceited should they talk about themselves, someone who isn't humble should they brag about an award or a volunteer committee they're on. These are very difficult things that we as professionals, young people who may be in our chat and watching today, but certainly the Generation X and older, which I would represent, have a very hard time doing. And so one of the things you're going to hear about today as I start my presentation and share some screens with you is that if you're not willing to be online, then we don't know what you do or who you are, other than brands that are built on your behalf. We're learning from major corporations that when people, consumers, customers, viewers, watchers, readers, just like you and I, when we're in charge of someone's brand, we get to make it up. So today's presentation is about helping you learn that it is okay, that it is very icky and sometimes very hard to talk about yourself, but that we're following you, and you had better be in charge of your own narrative, because the internet will certainly be in charge of it for you if you're not. So with that, I'd like to start my presentation on screen. As Matt said, there's a comments and a chat section. You are more than welcome to ask any questions. I'll get to as many as I can near the end. And certainly, I love hearing feedback as well. Things like, wow, good point. Never thought of that. Gosh, this is really helpful. And even some negative stuff, keeping it obviously positive the best you can. Nothing wrong with, I disagree with that. Or I don't really agree with that synopsis. I will offer things in opinion, professionally, and with advice that has been proven at the highest level, celebrities and celebrity brands, politicians that you and I have seen and know. I am behind many social channels, which is also a component of our conversation, because sometimes putting a social media or PR person in charge of a brand is something we would never think possible for ourselves. Yet we recognize that that's exactly what exists for elected officials or celebrities that we buy music or performances from. And so we are entering this new world where if you have the resources, a videographer or a photographer to follow you around to a networking or a chamber event in your community is not a bad thing, because the content that you'll receive from that can provide immense and amazing opportunity. So I'll talk about being a social media ally, and I'll talk about the opportunities that lie here online every day and in your pocket that, frankly, the vast majority of you are not using in any way, shape, or form. That's me. I'm having a rough time, a real rough go here in Alberta the last 6 weeks, frankly, the last 3 years. The guy on the right in this collage works for your Calgary Flames, but only during the playoffs. And yeah, if you're doing the math at home, the Flames have been short of that playoff for a while. I'm the host of the Red Lot. If you're following what the Oilers are doing in Northern Alberta, and congratulations to all of you fans, you'll forgive me if I'm not on the same bandwagon as you are, because I get an NHL paycheck. My mom is very happy and proud of that. It's maybe not with a whole bunch of zeros like the players, but every spring, if the Flames make the playoffs, I am so grateful and privileged to be the host of the Red Lot. It's like the Joey Moss pit outside Rogers Place, but in Calgary, outside the Saddledome and eventually their new center. The guy in the middle, he's a host of cheer and dance. He wears tuxedos, he entertains kids, and you can't see it, but he has wings on his shoes to remind him that he's a kids entertainer, and that his brand online and in person, no matter how old and bald he gets, should be representative of a child or a young person in a school that has questions about social media or mentorship or leadership. The guy to his left is the announcer of the Sylvan Lake Gulls Baseball Club, part of the Western Canadian Baseball League. It's an Alberta Saskatchewan baseball league, summer fun and entertainment for fans, much like hockey has captured all of our imaginations during the winter, and there's lots of marketing opportunity. Baseball's starting to do the same, and I'm a baseball announcer, so I spend evenings, including in the middle of 4 nights, as I speak to you. And then the guy on the left has been in television and radio. He's online. Obviously, content creation is the new television and media, and he is allowed to speak to you in a number of different levels with a portfolio that exists from elementary school helping to educators, university and college instructors, and teaching that social media safety is important. But if we continue to speak only of the safety, most people my age and older are missing the immense opportunity of having a camera and a broadcast device in their pocket. You aren't me, and I'm not you. This was me in about 1989, when the greatest team ever won the Stanley Cup. the Calgary Flames. This is middle school. I was always doing this. I've always known what I was and who I am, and sharing has always been what I'm about. Enough about me. I'm telling you because to establish a brand, I have to show you that I have one and that I've clearly established that brand over time. So welcome to our social media brand presence, our brand strategy course. Very small window, about 45 minutes today, so I can help you learn a little bit more about what brand expectations we have of you in your role, in your job, whether you're an employee or an employer, an entrepreneur or a business owner, a contractor, or all of the above. I have 3 full-time jobs, as you've seen. Your personal brand, whether you like it or not, whether you speak or not, whether we see you or not, is always on display. Now you would say, Joe, it's not on display if I don't show anyone. Yes, it is. What you're branding to us is that you're not open for business, that you are not on display. Or as we see with most people on Instagram, visual channels like Facebook, certainly on business pages, on LinkedIn, or on our personal branding pages, we see the vast majority of entrepreneurs very private. They are posting, but what they're posting is my post or a colleague or an article that you found online. They are never, almost never posting about themselves. And it's because of the things I said. If you're just joining us at the opening, I mentioned that it feels conceited. It feels difficult to talk about ourselves. And so we would much rather turn the camera to others or the things we love, which is why I also speak to parents and educators and teachers all the time in schools around our province about the necessity for us to realize that it's not our kids' fault that they don't want to be on your Instagram. It's ours. It's an adult responsibility to generate a safe space for kids to be online. So whether private or public, your brand is on display and people know who you are. And that is something you have the ability to manipulate or master if you're willing. We have learned from many, many different studies that trust visually is based on first impressions. As soon as we see someone stereotypically in a job role wearing PPE, or in this case, a white smock, perhaps a doctor or a dentist, somebody in our world is respected based on their costuming. This is unfortunate because we also have the negative connotations of stereotypes. And all of us, everyone watching this, no matter how much reconciliation you've done with your own past and past traumas and the way you were taught at the kitchen table, like so many my age, younger and older, we have created generalizations and systemic cultures related to what we see. But realizing that and taking it from negative, what we can do is turn that positive. And you now have a responsibility to change the narrative in many cases or rebrand that industry or that job role that you're in. Trust is built on first impressions. Same man on the left, same man on the right. You immediately systemically judged someone potentially because of sleeve tattoos, a cutoff shirt, or the way they hold their posture. This is something we know scientifically and psychologically exists in culture and society. No matter how much we try to teach people not to judge, we do judge. And frankly, we should judge because sometimes safety, actual life and death situations are based on a split-second judgmental decision. Trust is built on first impressions. Trust is also built on your brand. And your first impression on social media might be my follow or connection from today's meeting. This might be the very first time you're seeing me. My first impression is the person you see on your screen, and it's also the person you're hearing, and the way I handle myself, my vernacular and vocabulary and other elements. You're already judging me based on who I am and the person that I've already introduced to you in my biography as what I am. And in fact, the Oilers fans don't like me at all right now. I'm kidding. Harvard University did a study that there are 2 things that you and I and everyone on the planet will do when we meet someone. This goes way back to when you were a 6 or 5-year-old entering kindergarten. You immediately decided whether you can trust your teacher and whether you can respect your teacher, even though at that age you didn't understand what respect meant. We do this innately as humans. Our human ability to trust someone or respect someone is from the visual impression most times. obviously with full respect to those who cannot see, those who cannot hear, or those with other disabilities, they also have this ability to either trust or respect using the senses that they are able to use. Online branding is so vital now because these channels exist for free for us in our earning years. For most of you watching this right now, perhaps a few in retirement or a few still in school, not necessarily in your earning years, but for most of us, your personal branding is so vital right now because there are only so many years in our life to earn. And that's not going with the old trope of retiring at 65. Gosh knows that we won't necessarily, any of us, be able to do that. Side hustles are now a thing predominant across all major sectors of the economic scale. There are side hustles now that can see online branding opportunities. Where we used to get a farmer's market booth now allows us to put that farmer's market booth selling our candlesticks or our carpentry on our LinkedIn or our YouTube channel or our TikTok, which we still fundamentally and systemically consider a kids channel. Yet adults more than anyone are scrolling and watching, not posting to TikTok. There are pros and cons to online branding. The pros, opportunity knocks. When you're seen, you're heard. And quite literally, we know this from the traveling salesman or woman back in the 50s or 60s. The vacuum cleaner would appear on your step and opportunity knocks. They wouldn't have done it for that many decades selling vacuums at the door if they didn't actually make sales. So when you knock on a door, when we see you on your LinkedIn, when you tell us what you actually do, opportunity can knock. And there are amazing sales opportunities. You still have to do the diligence. You still have to do the work. You still have to explain in the comments section. And I'll get to why sales isn't the only thing you need to be posting, but your network is your influence. Your ability online to develop expectations is incredible. You teach us what to think about you. You always have. And for many of you watching this right now, and if you've answered Matt's questions or our poll here today and said, well, you just don't do this, that's fine. I'm not here to judge you. You don't need to do anything I'm saying here today. All I'm saying is anyone in their earning years, specifically commission-based or quota-based roles, there are all kinds of opportunity to buy your vacuum cleaner if you're on our doorstep without being icky, sticky, conceited, or feeling uncomfortable or negative. We presume and assume everything. Sometimes this is used in language like, oh, people of the internet are stupid. Not everyone's stupid and not everyone's a bad driver. We assume and presume what you tell us. If you speak intelligently, instead of yelling at referees at the hockey game, if you speak intelligently about the game that may have deficiencies in officiating, there's a difference between yelling at referees and explaining deficiencies or disagreements or debate. It's really amazing how you teach us what to think about you. We can raise our fist in the air at almost anything, or we can protest for a cause. The cons of personal branding are obvious, and many people in my role, and higher up certainly, celebrity or public figures, people who have been elected officials, they have different goalposts. It's not fair to them. You'll never know who scrolled past. There is closed circuit network of people yammering and talking about you. The goalposts are different. You can't enter the comment section the same way because when you do personal branding well, your reputation precedes you. And now you can't necessarily jump into a debate or an argument online, nor should you, to be quite fair. Professional brands have been doing this for years.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sorry,
go ahead,
Joe,
Matt.
just before we move on to this next thing, just just with your internet, I just wonder, it's great to see you, but I wonder if it might be if we just had audio, whether it would be a little improvement. It's breaking up quite a bit. I didn't know if we wanted to experiment with that uh
Okay.
for a
Yeah.
second. That's up to you.
Yeah.
But just while we do that, just kind of a question, I suppose it frames up for a lot of people and how they may be feeling about this is this sounds awesome, and this sounds great for Joe Whitbread, who is confident, who is can get out there, who's confident in that brand. But it perhaps may not feel like it would come naturally to them and for them. Like how do we speak to those people? Like, what's the how do we kind of help them, I suppose, beyond that feeling?
Yeah, certainly, and that is part of the presentation. Do apologize for the technical
No,
difficulties
it's okay.
everywhere. Um, that is part of this presentation as well. The humble hat is one we all wear, and
Yeah.
extroverts and introverts are very different people. There are people that will panic for a very, very long time just to go to a concert. They want to see the artist, they want to participate in the nightlife, but they absolutely have panic attacks just thinking about what they might wear or where they might be. It is absolutely obvious to me, and it's a great question, Matt, and one I get a lot, that this is not something for everyone. And you are right. There are fascinating figures in public society that we know about because we know about them. That's why I use the asterisk in my presentation specifically on you do not have to do anything I'm saying. However, if you are in your earning years in a commission role, in a place where you have to meet or network or grow a constituency, then there is no ability anymore to hope that that happens. I talk quite often about some medications that are now being used as magic pills to do the work for us. Social media success, which is the goal or should be the goal of anyone here, you want to learn more about this. But if you truly are, as Matt says, someone who's shy and couldn't possibly show yourself on a camera or video screen, I recognize that. I respect that. And I didn't completely acknowledge that. But potentially, if you had to sit in a boardroom and make a presentation about numbers or things, that would terrify you. And I would argue, Matt, by the same token, that job is not for you. And so there are jobs that do require public branding. There are many, many jobs that don't require public branding. And then this webinar, frankly, is hopefully an interesting and informative chance for you to listen in. It's also a great chance, regardless of who you are in public culture, to realize I found as you start to reconcile potentially whether you're one of those people that hates online or dislikes online or enters comment sections and wish you didn't. If you are that person, my hope is that you'll watch this webinar and realize that people like me and elected officials can't respond, can't be public, or do have photo ops. And photo ops are a very big part of public culture. Photo ops are absolutely what they look like. And sometimes everyone in this comment section, sometimes you've had to be in a company photo. Hey, everybody, we're cheering for the Oilers this week. We want to show that our staff loves the Oilers. Wear your Oilers gear. We're in a photo op. Social media is built on photo ops. And so the personal and public branding of a company is what I'm trying to echo here. And understandably, completely and totally, that not everyone here is a host of NHL or WCBL baseball games, recognizing completely that you can't necessarily, without a cue card or a teleprompter, put 2 or 3 paragraphs together by memory. I recognize that. I respect that. That is not what today's presentation is about. This presentation is about realizing that whether you speak or don't speak, if you have social media, you have said, I'm public and I'm online. You have already broken that or cut that ribbon. If you do not want to have public social media or you want to be there in the background, that is completely okay, as long as you respect that if you're in the background, that you're not just chirping when it's time for someone to chirp. In my opinion, someone who has a profile and a brand is the only people, much like an election. If you vote, you're allowed to complain. If you have a personal brand online and I can see your eyes and know your real name, just like you know mine, don't jump in my comments section as a faceless, nameless entity. The goalposts are different and it's not fair. Does that make sense, Matt? Oh, you're on mute
Yes, it
there, pal.
does, and there's a message there. Is a it's you got to show up in a way that's authentic to you. So I suppose with you, Joe, yeah, your persona, your online presence is authentic to you. It does not necessarily mean, does it, that that has to be the same for everyone. So I suppose it's yeah, finding that which works for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and works for your job too, Matt. And
Mm.
again, I so apologize, everyone, if it's jumpy audio and other things. I do apologize. There's nothing I can do about that. I promise we've done our diligence on this end, as it might jump around again a little bit. But Matt, do you want me to turn the camera off and go back to the presentation then?
Well, I think if you just turn off your video, the audio may improve.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So Very good. And please interrupt me vocally, Matt. I'm just going to go to my other screen and we'll just
Yeah.
continue here. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your comments. Matt is monitoring that, and I'll get to as many as possible. And do
Yeah.
bear with us on any of the glitches or audio. All
That may
right,
happen.
let's head back to the presentation screen.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, no, that was it. There is just one kind of question there. Please advise what social media platforms to use, and this probably comes up later. Do you use the same created on each site? How often do you change the message? So a bit more
Yeah,
social media specifically, but yeah.
sure, of course. And yes, this does come up in the presentation. Your channels are your channels. It would be nearly impossible. And it honestly wouldn't even be fair if you said, which color shirt should I wear to my business meeting on Monday? Not in your business. I don't know your body type. I don't know your modesty level. I don't know. There's so much I don't know about you. It's unfair to ask me to choose your shirt at a business meeting where you have to potentially impress, or maybe you're deciding to quit. There are so many variables. And I'm not trying to go be overcomplicated, but asking me, should I be on LinkedIn or TikTok? That's up to you. Are you a TikToker? Probably not. LinkedIn is a business networking channel. Have you ever been to a business network? Have you ever gone into a business networking room with a paper bag on your head hiding your face? Sounds silly, but if you're on LinkedIn and you're never talking, why are you there? And some would say, I'm following, I'm seeing, I'm researching, and that is an absolutely fair answer. But goalposts are different. If you're not willing to share what you do, I can't refer you. I can't know your brand. If I don't know about a product on a store shelf because they've never advertised to me and it just appears, people can and will buy it, but they will get beat by the competition who's marketing more. And so, to answer your question, LinkedIn is a fantastic networking channel. If you've ever been to a networking event, that is LinkedIn. If you've ever been part of a chamber of commerce, if you've ever been part of this group, if you've ever been part of other business, Rotary, Kinsman, the Kinettes, the Lions Club, any of those communities, if you're not seeing through, besides their help in the community, their networking opportunities, not just for you. This is not about conceit. That's your mind systemically making this conceited. You can provide opportunity for me by being on LinkedIn. You can provide opportunity for your local fundraiser, for the board you sit on, for a child's sports team, or your son and daughter doing fundraising with almonds at door to door. This is not about conceit. This is not about you. My brand, because I'm the brand, my earning years are based on me selling to you. My business at Joe Social Media, the first agency in Alberta to monitor and manage social media channels, I am the owner and CEO of a business brand. So my brand is about me, no different than a politician that was trying to get your votes a month ago was branding them and their party. And that's an important component of what we're doing. So I'll move on here and do a little bit of a presentation on the brands you know and you see, and that you don't even know that you see. Professional brands have always, always, always been trying to get your attention. You know this. So hands on your buzzers, answer out loud. You already did. It took a split second for you to know that those two little ink blobs represent a brand that you read every morning before you caught the bus or before you headed out. And many of you still do. Right now, this brand exists in about 80% of your cabinets and cupboards. You know the brand from two ink blots. They've been branding that to you as a logo for a very long time. You know those eyes. You don't have to be a Swiftie or in your Swiftie era right now to recognize that Taylor Swift's brand is everywhere. And just from seeing tiny eyes in a screen, you recognize this brand. You know that that's not a bouncy ball like you played with in school. You know that's the Pepsi logo. You know, because many of you have kids or have been around long enough to recognize that tiny little pixelated image is Minecraft, one of the most popular computer games kids play today. And if you don't know that, that's okay. Many people don't drink Pepsi. Many people don't play Minecraft or video games. But I show this in a school, in my school presentation, and the kids go crazy because this is a brand right now that one of the biggest brands in the world, McDonald's, adopted to help sell fries and burgers. This is the brand opportunity and collaboration we're talking about. And you have this opportunity too. It's not about you being Joe Whitbread or the Pringles guy. It's about you realizing that the collaborative approach to tagging and allowing others to speak through your channel of followers and network is influence. By the way, if you're at home thinking that's the Pringles logo, you're wrong. In many cases, you and brands like this have to rebrand. That's the new Pringles logo. Now you know because you've seen it on shelves, but you have been branded the first Pringles logo for decades. Now they're rebranding for whatever reason. And as we spoke, an election is an incredible brand opportunity for you to witness. By the way, this next segment is not about politics. Just recognize what happened during an election. 30 days to get your vote in different segments of society, in different places and geographical locations. They were branding these human beings. Many would say that the official leader of the opposition, Pierre Poilievre, lost this election because of his personal brand. You can debate that all you want. It's not a political argument. This is a marketing conversation. But recognize these colors, the colors of your Tim Hortons cup versus the colors of your Starbucks cup matter. Those are carefully studied. And so the colors that you are asked to vote for every 4 years matter as much as the candidates themselves. Personal branding is the practice of marketing yourself. As Matt and I talked about just moments ago, that's difficult for any to ever stomach. And simply put, you won't. And that's okay. I would question why you're here in this webinar. If marketing yourself is not part of your job, there's nothing wrong with that. You do not have to market yourself. But if you do, there are opportunities. If you're willing to be confident, to go online, to brand yourself, maybe differently on Instagram than you would on LinkedIn, one being a visual aesthetic channel, one being a obvious business channel. Once you have a strategy in place, which I'll help you with here today, then you have an ability to put that brand on display. This isn't about me, and I know that sounds weird because look, it's all about me. I'm showing you that I'm a visual brand to so many different things. Did you know in my community I volunteer and read in schools? This is not about me, but my audience does know that. And when they see a gentleman like me from the community that might be their ball announcer, the hockey guy, when they see me reading in schools, they think something of me. This is a photo op. I don't want that to seem disrespectful. I truly care about the kids in the classrooms. However, I would be silly in my line of work not to take this photo. And many of you who may be judging me, which is totally okay, that's what we do as we've learned, will recognize that you have asked others to take a picture of you as well while doing something that you are doing. A Stampede breakfast flipping pancakes. It shows that you, on behalf of your business, was there doing the actual work and part of a community event. Your personal brand is always on display. And this was an epiphany for me years ago when I learned this mathematical or algorithmic equation. Perception, what we all see, is a combination of reality and communication. If we don't communicate a reality, then there is no perception. Or the perception is we don't exist. We see this in schools a lot. What kids are starting to communicate is their real reality. Unfortunately, kids underage drinking around a campfire or camping this summer and skinny dipping in the lake and putting it on their Instagram or Snapchat story, as anyone here would agree with, would not be a brand representation that would be advisable for that age group. So communicating their reality creates a perception, and we're witnessing what teenagers are thought of in society. Personal branding is a combination of how you see yourself. That's the sticky, mean voice in your head. Many of you had it today. Some of you are having it during this very presentation. That's an ugly, bully voice. I'm sorry for that voice. When it exists out there, we wear pink t-shirts and we talk about it extraordinarily one day or multiple days a year. When it's our own voice, this is negative mental health. And I really truly acknowledge that we all have a mean voice in our head. We don't like what we sound like. We don't like what we look like. We don't want to. We don't feel as successful as the other people or colleagues in our industry. You have the ability to control the narrative. Vulnerability is an incredible brand voice right now. We know this because mental health is growing and billions are being spent on it. And we all have negative mental health. Doesn't mean you're the lowest of the low, and it doesn't mean you're the highest of the high. But if you control the narrative and allow others to learn from you and grow, you're also doing a brand service. As mentioned, teenagers aren't getting the message. Why I'm traveling to schools to do this. What do you see in these brand voices in very typical Snapchats or YouTubes or Twitch streams or Instagram posts, if they're willing to post at all? You create this brand voice. Does a man with a beard live in his mom's basement playing video games and collecting? Nothing wrong with that. Let me be clear, nothing wrong with that. But there are some circles or jobs where you apply and this is your brand, and that would likely not get you the job. So the personal brand doesn't have to be the reality. There are many things I hide about my personal brand, none nefarious, but there are many things I'm able to hide about my personal brand that you simply don't get to see. And that's okay. You have the ability to do this as well. You can curate your own brand, no different than Coca-Cola gets to curate their brand. How you react online, this is not just about posts and profiles. Your activity, and you are on social media. We know that the vast majority of adults are on social media, perhaps nameless and faceless, but that doesn't matter. Algorithms and AI know exactly where you are. I promise you, what is uploaded and downloaded to your computer, just as I tell kids and work with the RCMP and local police departments, your IP address, despite the apps you can use to block it, you can be found. And no one's at the most nefarious part of a conversation like this, but in general, your mentions, how you react in a comments section, how you spell words. There are people with learning disabilities. There are people with dyslexia. There are people who unfortunately are very poor spellers or grammatically incorrect. And those people, unfortunately, if they represent a job role, that personal brand can be damaging. So using Grammarly or apps to make sure that if your job or the brand you want out there is an intellectual or intelligent or spelling correctly, and you're not, that's not your fault. With full respect to learning disabilities, you'll just need to curate your brand appropriately if you have those issues. Confidence plays a huge role in this. That's what Matt was talking about. Many, many people aren't Joe Whitbread. They aren't a famous figure. They aren't running for a political office. So confidence is two things when we learn about confidence. This is how you choose to act, play, work, or perform a certain way, regardless of what others think. This is your choice. That's having confidence. Instilling confidence is a whole other ballgame. You have the ability on your social platforms to instill confidence in us. I had to do that when I opened this. Matt did too. And the people behind the scenes, when they met me and set me up with this amazing opportunity to speak to you and offer my learning and knowledge, I have to instill confidence, just like a doctor has to show you his or her lab coat and the stethoscope around their neck. It instills a confidence before they check your chest. If they didn't have that or showed up in a different way, we wouldn't have confidence and likely wouldn't allow them in the room, even if their credentials said otherwise. Your opportunity, whether on social media or in real life, in business, in your earning years, comes from confidence. You can find exponential opportunity on personal and social media brands when you instill that confidence. How do you start? Well, you have to define your brand identity. You can do this internally. You can do this on a piece of paper. You can do this offline. You should do this offline. You don't establish or define a brand identity live. There are hits and misses and things you can do, but for the most part, your brand identity exists. It exists in you visually. It exists in your acumen. It exists in your resume. Not visually and not for me to explore. Very few people are actually browsing a resume on someone's LinkedIn page. Instead, what we have are anecdotal information or knowledge points that establish your values, your passions, your strengths, your talents. It's what makes you you. And all of these insights, your little tiny talents, you'd be amazed if you're good at guitar, but it has nothing to do with your business, how a post holding a guitar talking about the expertise of an agricultural oil and gas site will curate an engagement or an interaction. This is not about you, except it's about you. You have to start thinking social if you want to be social. If you don't want to be social, do not be social. This is how to be social. Follow a brand strategy, what we just established. Who are you? If you have alcohol in your life, do you show it? Do you show it in a social way, or do you show it in a way that supports local breweries and businesses? What is the impetus of your marketing brand when it comes to things like alcohol or swearing or emojis or hashtags? How do you teach us that you think? If you love wearing Crocs at home, do we get to see them? Do you wear Crocs in public? Is that just something you wear in the back end? Is it something you do wear at home and we're allowed to see that you're human and you love comfortable shoes? Take responsibility for your online channels. Create social media allies. I was at a networking event here in Sylvan Lake yesterday, and I handed my phone to someone. I said, I'm going to go speak to a bunch of people in this corner. I need you to take a photo of me speaking to these people. They said, that's a brilliant idea. Can you do that for me? Sure can. I ended up with 5 different phones taking pictures of people networking. If you're online, you'll see them. I took all of those photos. That's a social media ally. What I do for a living is speak on stage or speak in performances like this. Some of you may have taken a screenshot of me doing this and have already posted to my social. You don't need to, but that happens quite a lot. Sometimes I have resting speaker's face and forget that my dimples are somewhat engaging and I should probably smile when I talk. But if you take a picture, make sure when you send it to me, I'm smiling. This is a good brand image of me speaking to you in the camera, not looking at my screen. How you appear on a Zoom screen does matter. Think social in your appearance. Curate your own content. Your social media feeds are a reflection of who you are. If you're someone who's only posting to social media other people's stuff, your kids, what you're drinking, your backyard, and other things, that's totally fine. It's your social media, but that's all we know about you. I have a friend who only shows pints of beer. They love craft breweries. That is not all they do, and they are certainly not into alcoholism, not at all. But if you look at their Instagram, it's nothing but pints of beer. And if pints of beer becomes the brand, that's my perception. It's unfair that we create these stereotypes, but we do. You would admit it too. If all we see from someone is that they are never working, always playing video games, yet they have a perfectly good job or 2 of them, but all they do is play video games, that's what we think they do. This is why we have brand perceptions of teenagers that are unfair, because a lot of kids will not post about their academic activity. They will not post at all about loving their family. That's uncool. They won't post about school or learning or taking job roles or anything else. This young man, TD Barrett, is from Red Deer, Alberta. His house is worth about $3.6 million. Perhaps you know him. He works for the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NHL, the NBA. He literally plays video games for millions of dollars. He has learned that the channels are there to be consumed, no different than the products on the grocery store shelf. And if you're on this side of it, then there is earning potential. This is not carried in schools. He did not learn this, unfortunately, in schools, but he had mentors, adults, parents in his life that said, yeah, no different than Connor McDavid. You want to play hockey? We'll drive you to the rink. We'll take you to the gym. We will learn how to make your body better so that you can be a professional athlete. We are finally seeing parents recognize that social media has nefarious components like hockey does. But if we support our kids, buy them a ring light for Christmas because they are really into creating TikToks, doesn't mean they have to post it. But being a positive role model for a child who has a passion at 8 years old, who will never be a YouTuber, by the way, don't worry. Just like a lot of your kids won't be an NHLer. It's really important to recognize that the brand we create gives us opportunity. You're selling us your products, your services, of course, but that can't be your only thing you're telling us about. You're offering us opportunities to engage in things you've engaged in. You're giving us knowledge like I'm doing today, ideas. You're showing us the skills and where you got your talents from. the mentors, the teachers from the past, the coaches that gave you the ability to think positively or be confident. You're establishing trust. When we see you working, we know that if we hire you or buy from you, we will trust you too. Integrity is what you are doing when others aren't watching. That's your integrity. We all have the ability to go spray paint a park bench or break a window in our neighborhood. Every one of us can do that. Why would we? That's our integrity speaking to us. Your credibility, your work ethic, and you. Those are the wings on my shoes, by the way. Unfortunately, kids aren't getting the message when they post online like you would have, if you're to be honest. You probably would have a lot of regrets. Your visible profile is something we need to start adopting. Your visible profile exists if you're online, and many of you here are online. To Matt's question earlier, you don't have to do this, but if you chose to be online and you have an invisible profile, who are you? Why are you here? Why are you networking? Why should you assume that it's okay to network with me, but you don't have to take the paper bag off your head? I understand introvertedness and extrovertedness and the psychology of human behavior and sociology. It's really, really vital to understand that it's unfair of someone to stick out their hand and you not to shake it. We would consider that rude at a networking event. And there is a reciprocation necessary on our social channels if you choose to be here. If you don't, that is totally okay. But being faceless and nameless and wanting to participate in the comment section is unfair. What is your real life and your online persona? Your invisible profile you already have. Whether you choose to ever post or do anything I'm offering you as advice here today, your invisible profile is there. This is what makes you you. It was how you were raised. It's the family values and the ethics, the talents, ideas, credibility, the past traumas and pain, your morals, your standards. All of that is already part of your brand. You choose to think of a segment of society or marginalized people in a certain way as a result of how you were raised. You have chosen to continue that, perhaps good, perhaps bad, or you've chosen to change that, perhaps good, perhaps bad. And that's because your invisible profile is actually your moral standards. Now we are seeing this online. It's absolutely okay, as I wrap up here today, to put your phone away. It's absolutely okay not to participate in comment sections. It is only a debate if you're willing to have your mind changed. Otherwise, it's an argument. We are witnessing far too many arguments and not enough debates. Put your phone away, but start thinking about your next move. You'll always need a next move. Your resume on LinkedIn right now, as I open it up to questions here shortly and turn it over to Matt, I want you to know your next move should always be in the queue. And personal branding allows us to consider you for our next move. Unless you are absolutely staunchly right down to the very end of your life here in this role, and this is all you're going to do, which I doubt, then your next move is standing by. And if you're willing to showcase your next move to us, then I would really encourage that, because people like me, others on this chat, people like Matt, absolutely incredible to network you just based on a few simple things that now we know you do. Thanks for contributing in the comments section, Matt. I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah.
Hopefully your audio got through and I can answer any questions you have.
Yeah, no, it got better as we went. So thank you so much. Yeah, we got some questions and I've got some questions. Do you know what? The next one, just kind of bringing it through to really like a practical, almost tactical place. What are the, let's think about a potential client, an example, someone who we would see at Business Link. They've been a staff accountant for a number of years and they are starting their own small business providing accounting services. Like what would be some like very practical kind of first steps for them?
Yeah, I love this. So your personal brand should be established, and all that needs to happen is I want you to write down three things that no matter which part of your life you're in, you value most.
Mm-hmm.
Try, and this is not to do with your job. So in this case, in this hypothetical, this is not to do with your job, your training, or anything. Perhaps you value family more than anything. Perhaps it's your faith, society, or a welcoming culture. There are so many opportunities of this. Write down those three things it's a great lesson regardless of social media, because you'll learn what truly is valuable in life. Don't be very specific. I love my dog. It's not necessarily about that, but if pets are a huge part, or animals are a huge part of your life, and that makes the top three, then you would recognize that, well, that's a pretty important part of my personal brand. Once you have those three things, everything else in your brand can flow around that. So we can always take something from work and relate it or put it through the pet filter. I treat dogs and cats and horses and animals this way. This is so valuable in my brand. So when I'm talking to someone in a business setting or a business meeting, or making a post to my LinkedIn, I would put it through the pet brand. Maybe I'm speaking to fellow pet owners or people who are sympathetic or empathetic in the pet world. And so you can put these things, if entertainment and culture and things of travel are part of your world and that's part of your brand, it's what you do, it's what you desire, and it's what you love, then potentially your brand evolves into something where geographically we see you. You're everywhere. Because if we want to think of you in that culture, then sure, from Fort McLeod to Lethbridge to Medicine Hat, that's not travel that we're maybe trying to pay for and take 2 weeks vacation to do, but we're traveling within our business. Travel is part of who we are. So those are the first steps. And then Matt, before we get to the next question, I would really welcome you to adopt, and if you've got a pen, I don't mind saying them to you, or you can write them in the comments section, Matt, while I say them. But there are 5 key elements to every brand, besides the 3 that you've established yourself. You are selling just like any business. This is any brand. This is Coca-Cola or McDonald's, and this is you. You are selling. You're selling us you. You're selling us something. Potentially it is actual products and services for money, but you are selling us something. You're selling us trust. You're selling us integrity. You are selling us that you're a mom or a dad. So one is sales. The second one is features or benefits. There are features and benefits to who you are. You have accreditation, you have certification, you have taken a lot of schooling, you have worked very hard, you've worked your way up the corporate ladder, you used to be a manager, now you're an owner. You have features and benefits of your job. You've got safety training, you've got kids, you've learned a lot about marginalized groups, you've taken reconciliation seriously, you've many, many benefits to who you are. That's not selling us anything, but that's teaching us about who you are. You have thousands of these. These are all posts that we should learn about. By the way, if you're a business owner, this is free training in my business training too, because this is exactly what your business needs to tell us about, the features and benefits without selling us anything. The third one is your brand, what we talked about with the 3. Approximately 1 out of every 6 or 7 posts should talk about your brand. You love pets. I'm part of the Flames culture during Oilers season. I'm capitalizing on that right now because, yes, there's another team in Alberta, while another team, without taking anything away, I'm letting you know I'm still here. And that's very important when something goes viral. The Oilers are going, for deserved reasons, viral right now. So anyone in the hockey community is capitalizing on eyes in the summer that's still on hockey. So our brand is on display. The last 2 are really important. The last one, the second last one is people. We need to see your face. This is the very, very hard part. You have to take off that humble hat, that humble Canadian hat you have on. You were taught not to ever show yourself or be about you. It was about someone else. That's unfortunate, because in social media, I'm following you, not your kids, not your favorite sports team, not the glass of wine you had last night, not your amazing lush back lawn. That's what you post, but that's not what I'm following. I'm following you. Because of that one screen that I showed you today, the Venn diagram that has that mean voice in your head, you don't want to show you because you think things about you. But I don't think those things about you. I really don't. I mean that with full respect. And I'm sorry if you have that mean voice. We all do. I don't think you look ugly in that dress. I don't think you are overweight, or you don't disheveled, or don't like your hair. I don't think that. What I think is based on the brand established. So the people component is vital in your brand strategy. You have to show us you. This is hard in the beginning, but once you start showing us you, handing your phone to a social media ally, having them take a picture. I'm not talking about a perfect head and shoulder shot you had taken. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean really authentically you. And the last one is your community. I don't care who you are or what you do. You should be involved in your community. We all have busy lives, but we can give a little bit. And if we give a little bit, like I'm doing today, we offer opportunity to others while establishing opportunity and credentials for ourselves. So giving is a good thing. You also teach others how to give. If I show that I'm supporting something, not just a check donation, volunteering my time, but I'm doing something for someone else, then I let you know it's okay. You might see in me, you, and the ability to do the same. Once you put those all together, sales, features and benefits, branding yourself, people, and community appeal, you have your brand strategy set for the year. You have this in your realty office, your mortgage brokerage office, your oil and gas, your agriculture. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. If you establish this, you will be amazed. Within 3 months, followers are coming in. Not that it's about followers, it's not about vanity, but when you have an audience, you have a platform. When you have a platform, you have potential. When you have potential, you have sales. If that's what you're targeting, then this is the recipe. If it's not what you're targeting, then thank you for joining us today. It's absolutely okay. There's no judgment, but many of us are targeting in our earning years these opportunities, and this is how to get this done.
Oh, it's good. Such good advice. I feel I need to take heed of some of it for sure as well. And it is all around that, I don't want to get kind of psychoanalytical on myself, but it's like, does does my voice, should it be out there? Should I have this view? Should I, and you definitely question yourself, and I'm sure lots and do. But yeah, kind of thanks for addressing, and there's kind of baby steps to it.
Yeah, and just want to make a quick comment. I know we're running short on time, and
Oh,
I am looking at your comments best. And so, healthcare professionals, police officers, people in public service, I see your comment. You absolutely have my full sympathy. You're absolutely right. You're not wrong. And by the way, the comment is, I feel a disadvantage. Online conversations about health topics. Teachers have this incredible disadvantage. It doesn't matter what they say, the knowledgeable public, the know-it-alls in the comments section are going to tell them they're wrong. This is such disadvantage. You're absolutely right, and you have my sympathy. What I'm talking about is not ideological posting. It's really important that sanctimony and ideology aren't part of your brand strategy. We all have it. These words are tossed around in political society, but we all have ideology and we all have sanctimony. Sanctimony is sitting on your soapbox saying something. Sanctimony and ideology can only be used when you earn the platform. This is why we hear ideology from political figures or leaders. This is why sanctimony, platforming ourselves to somebody, is only with the Joe Rogans or the heavy duty podcasters of the world. That sanctimony is something they've earned. You can you can subscribe, or you can unfollow. And so just want to be very clear. I appreciate that comment very much, because there are members of the public service, union employees, and people who only feel they can go behind a faceless, nameless entity to cheer for their Oilers online and complain about the refs. I hope 20 people at a time, we're changing the world a little bit and saying, just don't complain about the refs online. You don't have to say everything you're thinking.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. There are a couple of kind of quick, almost very, very kind of quick questions. Just interested to get your kind of view on. So let's go for them. Well, one question, kind of funny. Do you ever ask people not to tag you on social?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I love that. I ask people to tag me more often, but I do. We're quick here. Yes, I do, and that will be in occasions where I might be at I have a large kids audience, large youth audience, because of my work in schools,
Yeah.
and so I know kids are watching. So my thinking social, like I taught you, is always, if a child sees this, what are they thinking? And so 100%. Frankly, before I even ask them not to tag, I'll just literally not be in the photo.
Yeah. And then there's just kind of one on, where's the best place to kind of get our personal brand out? Like, do we need our own website? Should we have our, our own, I don't know, own channels, email lists, etc., or
Yeah.
LinkedIn or TikTok or wherever?
Sure. Great question. So if business is your goal, LinkedIn is a gold mine. The vast majority, in a room of 100 people, 9 out of 10 will put up their hand that they're on LinkedIn. Less than one in general will put up their hand saying they're posting to it. So they're on it, they're seeing it, like many of the people in the comments today, but only a few of us are broadcasting. It's a gold mine if you choose to be a broadcaster. By the way, this is no different than television. We all knew the reporter or the person on television. We all knew the radio host or the person you listen to on the morning show, and tens of thousands, if not millions, in major markets are watching them. We all know who Joe Rogan is, and millions are listening to Joe Rogan. So in a business sector, not politically based, I'm not going to political, in a business sector, would you rather be a Joe Rogan broadcasting with a thought leader or the millions listening? And both answers are acceptable.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Joe. Just on that note, kind of to round back to LinkedIn, I'm assuming that's a kind of great place for people to connect
Yes.
with you. I know there've been some questions that we've not managed to get to today, but I just really want to thank Joe for your time today, and give everyone the opportunity to follow Business Link. And you'll see this session will be posted to our YouTube channel. You'll also get an email, and with these, it's really valuable. Joe mentioned it before, for us to get your feedback, to for us to know, like, are these the types of content we want to see more of? What would you like to see in the future? So it's really, really valuable. If you get that opportunity, we're able to provide these for free, but it really is, feedback is so, so valuable for us on that. Nothing else to say from me apart from thank you very much, Joe, and to our attendees.
Yeah, and me too. I see all your comments. And if you're watching this after the fact in the recording, I promise I will do my best to get back to you. But if you tag me, I will try. So if you didn't watch this live, please comment anyway. Matt or somebody from our organization be glad to get back to you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Joe. And can we say it? Let's go Oilers. Okay, thanks. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.